Hare Krishna. So today I'm going to start with a video by so-called, by Patvika Swami about so-called life coaches. So normally life coaches are supposed to help you in life, but here's a story of two life coaches who themselves committed suicide. So why does this happen? Because they don't have any connection to Krishna. So let's see that.
Recently, I gave some talks about life coaching, and I wasn't going to give more just now, but someone sent a link which got me thinking some more, and I'll just read from that. It's from a 2013 article from ABC News titled Hosts of Radio Show Pursuit of Happiness, Apparent Suicides. I won't read it all, just some excerpts. A New York couple who were life coaches and co-hosted a radio show called The Pursuit of Happiness have been found dead in their apartment with plastic bags over their heads. That their professions were based on promoting happiness and fulfilled lives has made the suicides even more confounding. Each one had left a suicide note. So it was definitely, or it appears at that point to be suicide. So this was a couple. He was aged 48, she was aged 46, apparently not married, who were described as, one of them described as a motivational speaker, and quoting from them, help people find their inner confidence and build on their real talents and competencies to reach their highest potential. And then there's a photo of them with that typical I feel great, I'm fulfilled, new agey smiles on their faces. They also co-founded Why Not Now, which their website describes as a life coaching business designed to help foster and encourage your inner strengths, identify hidden and untapped resources, and put you confidently on the path to designing the life you've always wanted to live. So it's very sad that people who are supposed to be helping others to live a more fulfilled life themselves felt themselves so unfulfilled that they committed suicide. Unfortunately, suicide is a major cause of death within the world, and one major reason that people commit suicide, there are various reasons, but especially in these so-called developed countries, it's often because people feel empty within. Sometimes we see people, they've got everything materially that they want, or they're at least materially comfortable, but they feel empty and lonely within, which was or unfulfilled, which was a syndrome that this couple were addressing through their business of life coaching, but clearly they themselves were empty within. Actually, all these people, everyone in the world is empty within without understanding who we are. Actually, spiritual living beings, part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, without understanding that, then we're just living in a shell of false ego. But by the potency, Krishna's external potency, Maya illusion, then we try to convince ourselves that we're happy. But people often find out that they're not really happy, and they go to a life coaching course, or they commit suicide, or they just remain in a state of depression, or whatever. Maybe these life coaches, they felt even worse in their inner emptiness than most people, because one thing is they're realizing they're cheating others and being hypocritical by taking money from them and telling them that they could be more fulfilled by using techniques which hadn't worked for them, because they themselves, they're telling others how to be fulfilled, inner fulfillment, but they themselves weren't inner fulfilled.
So this is a lecture on life coaches who are propagating fulfillment, but they themselves are not really fulfilled. Right? So this is a challenge. People are practicing what they themselves don't preach. I mean, they are preaching what they themselves don't practice. And that is the general tendency of many of the life coaches and self-help gurus and Deepak Chopra and people like that. But the real knowledge comes from Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is the distilled knowledge of all the Shastras delivered by the Lord Himself, so that the soul can practice these things and go back to the Lord. However, a lot of the people don't know what to expect, so they stay away from it because they are too afraid. Like, I was trying to give a Bhagavad Gita to one of the persons, and he was like vehemently, no. And I was asked why. He was saying, oh, if I take this book, my life might change. That's why I don't want to take it. Right now, whatever is happening, let it happen. This has happened in our Seattle temple here by an IT engineer. So there are people like that. They're afraid. Yeah, life will change. So there is something may happen drastically different. So I don't want that something to happen. So this is the state of affairs. People don't want to even come close to anything that will change their life. Good or bad, they just want to continue. But Swami Prabhupada says, and like we have seen Bhakti Vikas Swami, who is Prabhupada's disciple, they say that you have to give it a patient hearing, hear what is there in this knowledge, and see how it goes. Right? You have to apply it first before you say no to something. And if it helps you, you definitely continue to do it. Right? So there is a very interesting thing in the chapter 15, which is called Purushottama Yoga, which talks about how the Lord is basically running everything. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates darkness, comes from me, Krishna says. And splendor of fire also comes from me. Then he says, I enter into each planet and by energy, they stay in the orbit. What do modern scientists say? How planets stay in the orbit? Anybody know?
The gravity.
Yeah, but then that is like a self-defeating prophecy, right? Earth is there because of gravity of sun, and sun is there because of gravity of what? They don't say that. Somehow everybody is in the space based on gravity, dependent on each other. But if you look at a puppet show, all the puppets are dancing, but who are they dependent on? Somebody is pulling the strings. Otherwise, magically, these puppets won't be hanging in the air and doing those dances. Somebody is pulling the strings with their left finger, right finger, thumb, middle finger, like that. So Krishna says, actually, because of my energy, these planets are staying in orbit. Because he's the creator, he can control them. Whatever we create, more or less, we are able to control, right? For example, if you write a 10-line Java program, something doesn't go right, maybe in line 6 or 7 there is an error, you go fix it because you created it. You know pretty much what it is about. The outsider may figure it out, but after a lot of effort. But the creator instantaneously knows what's there in each section of that creation. So only Krishna can make that bold statement. I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. And Krishna further says, I am the fire of digestion. So he's saying, I am the fire, I am the fire of digestion, I am the energy of the planets by which they stay in orbit. First of all, by which they float, right? The planets are not falling down, they're floating. Then he's saying, I am seated in everyone's heart. From me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. So, goal of the Vedas is what? To know Krishna and then serve him, seva. You have to serve Krishna. And there are two classes of beings, fallible and infallible. Material world, every living entity is fallible. Spiritual world, everyone is infallible. And they're saying, besides these, there is the greatest living personality, Supreme Soul, Bhagavan, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Right? People say, scientists say, if you ask them, how is this universe running? Oh, it's running automatically. But nothing runs automatically, right? Even if you have a toy car, after a while it stops. Nothing runs automatically. Then he says, because I am transcendental, beyond both fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. So, both in the Vedas as well as in this world. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service. So, one should not doubt. Then we will understand what it is. He therefore engages in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise. We are all becoming wise. And his endeavors will know perfection. Means whatever we do, we'll have perfect result, not semi-perfect. So then, that we covered last time. Then we came to this particular verse, divine and demoniac natures. So some people are divine. If you are divine, a lot of people are demoniac, means they don't follow any proper rules and regulations. So we covered this last time, but we didn't go into the explanation. So to get a good child, we have to do something called Garbhadana Samskara. Means the wife and husband should chant a large number of rounds that day before conceiving the baby. So what happens when you conceive a baby in that environment? Good babies will come out with good consciousness. Otherwise, the kids will not be of very good consciousness. Normally, how people are conceiving babies nowadays, they'll go to a party, they'll get drunk, eat meat, come home, have sex, and have babies. In that consciousness of eating meat and drinking alcohol, first of all, they don't even know what they are doing. So, what kind of babies will they have? They'll have babies which are, not of godly atmosphere. They'll have demoniac qualities. They'll become demons. That's why you see a preponderance of people who are crazy. Demons are also nice. When they talk, they are very nice. But demons means they cannot help but do bad things. They cannot stop themselves. So, and then we have all these qualities of a divine. So anything opposite to this is demon. So Varnashrama Dharma, what is it? It's 4 occupational divisions like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and then 4 life cycle divisions like Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So in this 4x4 matrix, the entire world of 8 billion people fits in. So in the Varnashram institution, the sannyasi or person in renounced order is considered to be the head or the spiritual master of all social statuses and orders. A Brahmana sannyasi is the topmost because sannyasi is like given up day-to-day activities and only focused on God. And a Brahmana is like a head of the society, giving guidance to the remaining three Varnas. So sannyasi should not think after I leave my connections who will protect me. They are fully dependent on mercy of the Lord. One must have thus firm conviction that Krishna as Paramatma will take care of a soul surrendered to him. Right? So I shall never be alone. I am always protected. That should be the consciousness. Abhayam. He has to purify his existence. So many rules and restrictions, regulations. So ideal sannyasi should stay away from women. Right? For a sannyasi, intimate relationship with women and possession of wealth, strictly forbidden. So you should not have wealth. I mean, the sannyasi should be always traveling from point A to point B and be dependent on whoever gives him a meal. Otherwise, they are just simply chanting the Lord's names and staying in one place. Sorry, staying in less luxury. Right? There's very simple life. Sleeping in a temple, or even if some disciple gives them a place to rest, they should just sleep on the floor, like when my spiritual master stayed in our home for 3 days when he visited Seattle many years ago. He was just sleeping on the floor. He said that, would you like to, have this, mattress or a new comforter? I said, no, I'm okay with wherever I am. So that will basically continue that sannyasa tendency. Otherwise, what happens gradually, we get attracted to material things and leave our sannyasa. So let's go here. Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Sannyasa is meant for distributing knowledge to householders. Supposed to beg from door to door. Doesn't mean he's a beggar. Needs to be humble, and he should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. Should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. So, even if somebody is not advanced, but he has taken to renounced order of life, he should engage himself in fully hearing to cultivate knowledge. Sannyasi or one in the renounced order must be situated in fearlessness, sattva samsuddhi, and jnana yoga, knowledge. Then charity. Charity is very important for us, householders, because we work hard to make money and then we'll get attached to that money. That's why it is recommended in Shastra, spend 50% of income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. So which means you can build temples with your income. You can buy Bhagavad Gitas and distribute to other people. You have to do it. There's no alternative. Otherwise, we'll be attached and progress will be slow. Then you may say, "Arey, government itself is taking 33%. Okay. Government is taking 33% and you have some, important expenditure. After those things are taken care of, then give 50% of the remaining, whatever is there. So charity is there in mode of goodness, and passion and ignorance. So charity and ignorance is to give money for some bad cause. Like somebody wants to drink and you give them money. Charity and passion is you're giving that money to somebody who will invest and who wants to get rich and forget God. Charity in mode of goodness is better than these other two, but still it has a tinge of danger there. Better to give transcendental charity to temples which are preaching Krishna consciousness. Not any temple, right? Because again, they may misuse it. So temples which are using it to pull people out from the cycle of birth and death. Because that charity is the highest. Lower level charity, who cares? Right? Lower level charity, you give $1, you'll get $4 in your next life. So that's like, a business. In order to have good future life, you are giving some charity in this life. So that's not so great. Charity in modes of passion and ignorance is not recommended because simply a waste of money. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is charity in the mode of goodness. Self-control, only meant for orders of religious society, but is especially meant for householder. So even though householder may have a wife, restricted sex, only for propagation of children. Otherwise, what happens? Then they will also become like normal people. They won't have that devotional attitude. But modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive methods. This is not transcendental quality, but it's a demoniac quality. So, if somebody is enjoying sex with contraception, it is demoniac, means like demon. Anybody must control the sex life, right? And if you have a child, purpose should be serving Krishna. Then if you are able to train them in Krishna consciousness, you can have 100 children. But if you're not capable, better not have, right? Because what will happen is then you'll create people who will make your life miserable and make other people's life miserable in the world. That's what's happening right now. People are just like cats and dogs. Dog one time will give like 8, 10 puppies. What's the use? They're all dogs. Again, they'll behave like a dog. So that's the point is being made here. So don't worry about that. Just focus on having at least one child who is Krishna conscious rather than having large number who are not following anything. Sacrifice. Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa should live by begging. So only Grihasthas should make money. And what should they do? They should perform Agnihotra sacrifices. Since they are very expensive in this age, we have a shortcut. It's called Sankirtan Yajna. Chanting of the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare is the best and most inexpensive sacrifice. Right? It is the best and inexpensive sacrifice. So it's also good on your pocketbook. You don't have to spend too much for sacrifices, right? So you can do a very easy sacrifice just by chanting Hare Krishna. Charity, sense control, performance of sacrifice are meant for the householder. Swadhyaya is meant for brahmacharya or student life. Brahmachari should have no connection with women, live a life of celibacy. Obviously, the whole idea of brahmacharya means celibacy. And then do swadhyaya, means self-study. Tapas or austerity meant for retired life. One should not remain a householder throughout his life. This is another challenging thing. What happens if one is householder throughout his life? Any thoughts?
Sense enjoyment, Prabhu. So material sense
enjoyment. And even if there is no sense enjoyment, if you are a householder throughout your life, you'll have too many responsibilities. First responsibilities of children, then grandchildren, then great-grandchildren. It will never end till the point of death. So at some point, you take care a little bit of your children. Once they are a little bit comfortable with the material world, you exit out. Because what happens is, I've seen people who stayed in the family life till the last day. First of all, children and grandchildren won't treat them very well because they'll become old, they cannot talk properly. So the grandchildren will start mocking them. They cannot walk properly. So even the kids will think that this is a burden. And if especially they are hospitalized, then the kids will become very, very depressed. Right? Forget grandkids, even the kids will not be, because I've seen this in my own family when my grandmother or grandfather in the hospital. Initially, like a few days, people will show interest by taking off from work and this and that, and after that, everything sucks you in. And then at that point, they are not really taking care. They are just like, okay, they are on their own like that. So, a man retired from household life must practice austerities of body, mind, and tongue. Yeah, this is very important because, especially the tongue, it's not easy. You just do a self analysis. Taking care of the tongue is not easy, it's pretty painful. You will be obligated to say some nonsense because of the society. Society will drag you into some conversation. Oh, that happened in this cricket match, or this happened in the stock market, or this happened in this. So controlling tongue is more difficult actually. Controlling body to a certain extent is okay. Tongue is very difficult. Without tapasya or austerity, no human being can get liberation. The theory that there is no need of austerity and one can go on speculating is neither recommended in Vedic literature nor in Bhagavad Gita. Means no need of austerity is a modern concept. You need to have austerity, means periodically fasting, giving charities. Charity is also one kind of austerity, right? You are giving away your future enjoyment by giving away the money that you have. That is also a form of austerity. Austerity means you're not indulging in this world. You're staying away from the world, like fasting. You have the money to buy and eat, but you're not going to eat. You'll fast for higher purpose. So that's the challenge. That's why we don't have too many people in ISKCON. If there are rules and regulations, people will not become attracted. Right? And that's why most organizations, Vedic organizations, gradually start relaxing 1, 2, 3, 4. And before long, they're hardly teaching anything. It becomes a big show. So that is show bottle spiritualists. For example, one of the main show bottle spiritualists in the current age is somebody called Sadhguru. If you go to YouTube, he will say, yeah, you have to wake up, you have to be early, you have to be nice to people, you have to be vegetarian. But there is no real understanding of God or anything. You don't have to worry about all those other things. So they are called show bottle spiritualists. Even when you hear them, it looks like spirituality, but it is very diluted. It is like, if you take 1 gallon of milk and you add 100 gallons of water, there'll still be white color there, but it's not really milk. It's more water. The same thing. These show bottle spiritualists are contaminating everything. You have to be very careful. Just to have a show, don't restrict the lives of a student. My son was saying, no, my daughter was saying that all these movie actresses from Bollywood get attracted to Sadhguru. And so what they did, there was a Sadhguru program. There was a rock song style bhajan going on, and all these movie heroines are dancing like they dance in the movies, right? Like the movie moves and steps. That is not devotion, right? That is, I don't know what it is. It's just one more show. It's like these movie stars do shows various places. That's also one more show. That is useless. They don't restrict the lives of their students. Simplicity. If we are in the brahmachari, behave like brahmachari. Grihastha, behave like grihastha, etc. Simple and straightforward. Ahimsa. Not arresting the progressive life of any living entities. One should not think, anyhow the soul is not getting killed, therefore there is no harm in killing animals. That's not the right thing. People nowadays are addicted to eating animals in spite of having an ample supply of grains, fruits, and milk. There is no necessity for animal killing. So Mike Prabhu, I saw that you joined. Thank you for joining after a few weeks. How are you? Nalini Mataji, thanks for joining. Did you know we changed the timing? We are now starting at 7 o'clock. Class starts early now. So we started at 7. And Nag Prabhu was there sharp. So everybody remember from next week to join at 7 p.m. So people are addicted to eating animals in spite of having ample supply of grains, fruits. Like recently I ordered some nuts from an online store, nuts2go.com or something like that. I mean, through Walmart, of course. Eating nuts feels so good, right? Because nut is a very concentrated form of protein and vitamins, right? I mean, again, not just peanut or groundnut. You should go for like more sunflower seeds and Brazil nuts and those kind of things have a lot of high concentrations of protein and vitamins. There is no necessity for animal killing. And there is no alternative, one may kill an animal, but it should be offered in sacrifice. When there is ample food, why do we have to kill, right? Especially if you are trying to make advancement in spiritual realization, you should not commit violence to animals. There's enough food actually. Believe it or not, America has extreme variety of foods, right? Brazil nuts come from Brazil and South America. You have sunflower seeds coming from Midwest, Texas, like that. So you have so many varieties in America actually. And then American dollar is very strong, so we import a lot of food from Middle East, like dates and basmati rice from India. So pretty much you have everything in America. So why commit violence? And how do you like people who are eating meat? How do you tell them not to eat meat? If you tell them no, they'll say impossible because they have no idea what they can eat. So you have to start by cooking classes. You should teach them how to cook good vegetarian food, offer it to Krishna and eat. Right? Like when Bhakti Charu Maharaj came to Seattle a few years ago, he did a cooking class. And our temple leader, Harulas Maharaj, also does cooking classes. Right? So, yeah, you could do a lot. That's for those of you who joined late. This is a lecture we talked about from 7 o'clock until 7:30, a little before 7:30, about how life coaches, two people who are supposed to help other people, they committed suicide. So they themselves were confused about what life is because they didn't have Krishna in this center. And then Bhaktivikas Maharaj's spine is not good, so he's giving classes by lying down on the bed. Very, very difficult position. Satyam, the word means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. In Vedic literature, there are some difficult passages, but the meaning or purpose should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. For example, in 3 paragraphs ago, we said, right, sannyasa, we always said he. So now some women in ISKCON are saying, why can't you give us sannyas? We'll also be a sannyasi. But Srila Prabhupada always talk about sannyasi as a he. Women are supposed to take care of families, not become a sannyasi. Right? Women first is under the protection of father, then under the protection of husband, and then the protection of a son. And at no time, women is independent. Always need to be protected, and which is a good thing, right? Because how will women take care of themselves? It's not an easy world, right? But these people said no, women should also be sannyasis. But if you go here, right, somewhere we talked about sannyasa. Let's go there. A sannyasi is supposed to beg door to door for his livelihood. It doesn't say her livelihood. Right? Because especially if a woman starts begging, men treat them very, with an inferior attitude, right? So it's like that. So in Vedic literature, there are some difficult passages, like you should not do this. So we should not sugarcoat it, saying that, oh yeah, it's okay for now. No. But then to lead a normal life, right? A lot of these things have to be twisted. But the higher principle is one should chant Hare Krishna. So I was talking to my students yesterday. By the way, this person committed suicide. He lost $730,000 on the stock market using his Robinhood app, and he committed suicide. So there are some things, regulative principles, no compromise, like no meat, fish, or eggs, period. Otherwise, you'll not make spiritual progress. Illicit sex, physically and mentally. Manasika Vevichara means physically you may not do anything, but in your mind you are doing illicit sex with someone. Like, especially when somebody goes to a movie, right? In the movie, you'll see scantily dressed girls dancing. So mentally you are having sex with them. That should be avoided. Gambling, speculation, stock market, philosophical speculation, intoxication, alcohol, coffee, tea. We can add marijuana to it also. I don't even know how to spell marijuana. Okay, marijuana, something like that. Yeah. No watching movies, pornography, and billboards. Like in India, some gurus say you should not even watch billboards because on billboards, all the material contamination is advertised. In America, it's a good thing actually. We don't have billboards on the side of the roads. It's not allowed. But in India, everywhere you go, you see these billboards, right? So no compromise on these things. But there are certain things that you can think about. There are certain things you can think about. For example, daily livelihood. A shopkeeper says, see, Bhagavad Gita says what? No, truth should be spoken, right? One should not disturb the truth for personal interest. But what does a shopkeeper say? Lying and selling, right? They'll say, sir, for you, no profit. I am giving you at cost price. I'm giving you at liquidation price, $20 below cost. But if he gives at liquidation price, he'll be out of business. He has to pay electricity bill, shop rent. He has to live also, right? He has to eat food. He has to pay his home rent or mortgage. So although in marketing, almost everything is a lie, for daily livelihood, there is a little bit of concession, right? Because if there is no profit, then how will that businessman run? They need profit to survive, right? So these things, a little bit flexibility is there, but these things, there is no flexibility. You should not do these things. If you do it, then no spiritual progress. You'll keep on going down, 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 right? By the way, now American unemployment is at 52.6 million. Very bad news. Large number are unemployed, right? So we don't know where this is going. So Satyam, yes. Especially for a devotee, we have to be very truthful. For livelihood, and also same thing about resume, right? Everybody lies on their resume 100%. So they may have just seen the cover of a book on C#. They'll say, I know C#. And once they get the job, they'll start learning it. Because, when you're born, do you know anything? You don't know anything, right? You all learn on the job. So it's okay. But in order to get a job, people kind of massage the truth a little bit. These things are a little bit okay, but when it comes to fundamental regulative principles, if you break them, you have no spiritual future. Fundamental principles are no illicit sex, right? No meat, fish, or eggs. No gambling, including stock market. including philosophical speculation. No intoxication, no watching movies, pornography, because these will contaminate you. I remember the movies that I saw when I was in engineering college, even now. So once it goes into your head, right, it will never come out. So we have to be very careful. If you want to go spiritually, if you want to take birth again, then you don't need to do anything actually. But if you want to get elevated to the spiritual world, then you have to be strict. Otherwise, it's tough. Akruda means check anger. Even if there is provocation, one should be tolerant. So I'm also practicing this. I'm not fully tolerant when somebody provocates me, but we have to work on it. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be sorry. He should make progress with patience and determination. Utsaha nishchaya dhairyat. Rupa Goswami says in the Nectar of Instruction, Utsaha means you should be, Utsaha nishchaya. Nishchaya means determination. Dhairyat, courage. Utsaha is patience or tolerance. We have to keep on moving. Kshatriya should be very strong. For Kshatriyas, meat eating is allowed. Can anybody tell me why Kshatriyas can eat meat?
They need strong body to protect others, Prabhu.
You don't get strength from meat. You actually, is elephant eating meat eater?
No.
You don't get strength.
So they go
They
to
hunt-
places to fight and they
hunt
cannot
animals,
grain everywhere, Prabhu.
Huh?
No, they go places to fight
Yeah.
for the country, and they don't find grains all the time when they go to fight.
Yeah. So they have to hunt animals and eat them. Not like buy from QFC and eat when you're at home. No. That's not allowed. And the second thing is they should shed blood, right? When the rival puts their knife, sometimes their hand is chopped off, leg is chopped off. So they're willing to shed blood. So they're allowed to eat meat. But if your job doesn't require you to shed blood, if all you're doing is sitting behind a desk and chanting, or not, rather, hopefully chanting, but more likely writing Java code, then what's the point? You don't need to justify. You eat very simple. Right? So that's how it is. Saucham means cleanliness, not only in mind and body, but in dealing with others also. So people should not deal in black market, like raising the price. Like I know one Nishiki bag of rice, I think 15 pounds was sold for $15.64 or 74 cents. When Corona hit, Amazon.com, the same bag was $49.99. So you can think how people are fleecing, both Amazon as well as Amazon suppliers. How people are fleecing. That's called black market, Kala Danda. In India, it is called black market. Here it is e-commerce. It's like Royal, right? Royal, they are cheating you. So something like a $16 item is $49.99. Because I actually used to buy, and when I went to Amazon, it was still jacked up to 3 times the price. And then I went to some of the other sites, it was still at the same price. So I got it from one other site at like $15.74 per bag or something like that. So you should know, all that glitters is not gold. People are cheating each other in the name of e-commerce, in the name of sophistication, like that. So all these 26 qualifications, believe it or not, we went through them, are transcendental qualities. Means they allow you to transcend, cross over the material world. So Shiva, did you join with a different name before? I didn't see you before, but suddenly I see you. Maybe you used your daughter's phone or something. Dhambo darpo abhimanasya
Dambo darpo abhimanascha.
Krodha parushyameva cha.
Krodha parushyam avacha.
Ajnanam chabijatasya.
Ajnanam chabijadasya.
Bharta sampadamasurim.
Partha sampadam ashuram.
Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature. Dambo darpa abhimanascha. Damba, pride. Darpa, arrogance. Abhimanas, that is conceit. Krodha, anger. Parushyam, ignorance. Parushyam is different than Paurusham. This is Parushyam, ignorance. Parushyam is harshness and Ajnanam is ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature. Okay, Sarvana, please read.
Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. They are always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities.
Yeah, so this is like a description of me. Right? Proud, arrogant of the education we have, that we are working for IT corporation. We speak angrily, harshly, and not gently. We don't know what should be done and what should not be done. Like that. So we have to work on them. Daivi sampad vimokshaya
Daivi Shampat Vimokshaya.
nibandhaya surimatam
Nibandhaya Surimata.
ma suchaha sampadam daivim
Ma Suchaka Sampatam Daivim.
abhijato asi pandavam.
Abhichato Asi Pandava.
The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with divine qualities. But I don't know if we can say that about ourselves. Son of Pandu means Arjuna was born with the divine qualities which are mentioned in the previous verse. But in this verse, he is mentioning demoniac qualities. Okay, Nagaprabhu, please read this.
Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna by telling him that he was not born by demonic qualities. His involvement in the fight was not demonic because he was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respectable persons such as Bhishma and Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, or harshness. Therefore, he was not of the quality of the demons. For Kshatriya, a military man, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such a duty is demonic. Therefore, there was no cause for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs the regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendentally situated.
This is a very important point. Anyone who performs regulative principles of different orders is transcendently situated. Means if you are a Kshatriya, you are required to fight. If you are a Vaishya, you are required to take care of cows and farming. If you are a Shudra, you are supposed to serve the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Brahmanas. And if you are a Brahmana, you should give guidance to these remaining three categories. See the difference? So if you perform according to your nature, then you are transcendentally situated. But there is a challenge with this. Can you tell me what it is? Anybody?
Oh, no, nobody wants to go to that third category, Prabhu. So maybe they'll think that, sorry, the fourth category. Why should I be
Yeah,
serving?
true. That is true. Why should I serve? Because we don't want to serve anyways. We all want to be a boss, not to serve. That is one problem. But there is one more problem. Sarvana, any thoughts?
Sorry, Prabhu, I missed the question, so I went out to have some water.
This last sentence, anyone who performs regulative principles is transcendently situated. Why is it a challenge?
Presently, it is very difficult for anyone to be of any order because 99 or 99% of the population today are all lower than Sudras. And we don't even know what is what we are, like what are the regulatory principles for
Right.
most of, and we don't even know what kind of social order or economic order that we are in because of lack of knowledge.
Yeah, that is the correct answer. Perfect answer. Because in the modern time, everything is broken up. There is no Brahmana, no Kshatriya, no Vaishya, no Shudra. Everybody is doing everything. Like if you see Sharmas are Brahmins and they'll be working in Amazon or Microsoft or Boeing. So they are doing Shudra jobs. So all the Brahmanas are competing for Shudra jobs. So Shudra, poor fellows, they don't have employment because all the Brahmanas have taken away their jobs. Right? So there's no clear demarcation between these different orders. So that's an excellent answer. And therefore, what is the solution then, Sarvana?
The solution is a Devi Varnashrama Dharma, Prabhu, wherein we keep Krishna as the center and we perform duties according to our own capability. But the ultimate goal is satisfying Krishna.
Yeah, but are we satisfying Krishna? What is the easiest way to satisfy Krishna?
Following the regulatory principles and chanting Hare Krishna. So that's the easiest way.
Not just chanting, Sankirtan. You have to go and chant in public so that other living entities are also benefited. Get the picture?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, that. So when you are interested in helping others, chant, then the Lord says, okay, here is somebody who is serious, candidate for liberation. But when you are always thinking about yourself, my chanting, my rounds, my this, then he'll say, okay, this fellow is still not ready. I mean, he's good, but he's not still ready. That's the challenge. द्वाभूत सर्गो लोके अस्मिन्
द्वाभूत सर्व लोकेस्मिन्
दैवासुर एव च
दैवासुर एव च
दैवो विस्तरसः प्रोक्ता
दैवो विस्तरश्च प्रोक्ता
आसुरिं पार्थ मे शृणु.
शुरं पार्थं मे शुरुम्.
Shrinu. Shrinu means hear. This word Krishna uses many times in Bhagavad Gita. Hear me. Like that. He's always reminding people to make them hear. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine, the other demoniac. I've already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Lord Krishna, having assured Arjun that he was born with divine qualities, is now describing the demoniac way. The conditioned living entities are divided into two classes. Okay, from here on, Sarvana, please read.
So the conditioned living entities are divided into two classes in this world. Those who are born with divine qualities follow a regulated life. That is to say, they abide by the injunctions in scriptures
and by the authorities. One should perform duties in the light of authoritative scripture. This mentality is called divine. One who does not follow the regulative principles as they are laid down in the scriptures and who acts according to his whims is called demoniac or asuric. There is no other criterion but obedience to the regulative principles of scriptures. It is mentioned that in the Vedic literature that both the demigods and the demons are born of the Prajapati. The only difference is that one class obeys the Vedic injunctions and the other does not.
Only difference is, although both are children of the Prajapati, Brahma, what is the difference? The difference is one follows, the other doesn't follow scriptures. So right now with this explanation, what is the percentage of people who are demoniac on this planet?
So almost 99%.
Because unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, who is following Vedic injunctions right now?
Very few.
Nobody, right? Like even in Christianity, I was reading today in one of the articles, they talk about so this Christian preacher was talking about it. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and snare and many foolish and harmful desires, which plunge men into ruin and destruction. For love of money is a root of all sorts of evil, and some by longing for it have wandered away from faith and pierced themselves with many a pang. What does it mean? What does it mean? Anybody? Did you understand what was read?
Your wife might be kept sign of God's blessing. I would just say those are in mutual contradiction for each other, and therefore this is.
Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. So this is almost 100% of the population. No, like Shastra says, you have to take bath 3 times a day, at least 2 times a day. But almost nobody takes. Only like ISKCON sannyasis take 3 times a day, and some pujaris take like 2 times a day. But other than that, most people don't do that. Right? So cleanliness is very difficult in the modern age. Right? People will eat. After eating, you have to wash your mouth, wash your hands. But what do people do? Eat with a fork, throw the paper plates in the trash can, and just walk away. There are no wash basins also in a lot of cafeterias. You're just supposed to eat with cutlery and then go away. Okay, Nagaprabhu, read.
In every civilized human society, there is some set of scriptural rules and regulations which is followed from the beginning, especially among the Aryas, those who adapt the Vedic civilization and who are known as the most advanced civilized people. most advanced civilized peoples, those who do not follow the scriptural injunctions are supposed to be demons. Therefore, it is stated that it's stated here that the demons do not know the scriptural rules, nor do they have any inclinations to follow them. Most of them do not know them, and even if some of them know, they have not the tendency to follow them. They have no faith, nor are they willing to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions. The demons are not clean, either externally or internally. One should always be careful to keep his body clean by bathing, brushing teeth, shaving, changing clothes, etc. As far as internal cleanliness is concerned, one should always remember the holy names of God and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The demons neither like or nor follow all these rules for external and internal cleanliness. As for behavior, there are many rules and regulations guiding human behavior, such as the Manusmrita, which is the law of the human race. Even up to today, those who are Hindu follow the Manusmrita,
The Samhita.
Manusamhita. Law of inheritance and other legislatives are derived from this book. Now, in the Manu Samhita, it is clearly stated that a woman should not be given freedom. That does not mean that women are to be kept as slaves, but they are like children. Children are not given freedom, but that does not mean that they are kept as slaves. The demons have now neglected such injunctions, and they think that women should be given as much as freedom as men. However, this has not improved the social condition of the world. Actually, a woman should be given protection at every stage of life. She should be given protection by the father in her younger days, by the husband in her youth, and by the grown-up sons in her old age. This is proper social behavior according to the Manu Samhita. But modern education has artificially devised a puffed up concept of womanly life, and therefore marriage is practically now an imagination in human society. The social condition of women is thus not very good now, although those who are married are in a better conditions than those who are proclaiming their so-called freedom. The demons therefore do not accept any instructions which is good for society, and because they do not follow the experience of great sages and the rules and regulations laid down by the sages, the social conditions of the demonic peoples is very miserable.
That we are seeing every day, right? Practically, 50-55% divorce rate in America. Kids are born before marriage. India is also becoming like that now. So this so-called freedom is puts everybody in a miserable condition. And not only about the women, what about the children of those women? When they grow up knowing the quality of their father and mother, they will also not have a very good outlook towards life. So the whole society is in a big mess right now. That's the challenge, basically. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said, first thing is we have to revive the culture in this world, bring it to Vedic culture, and then we can talk about God. But then since reviving culture is so complicated, by talking about God, Krishna, chanting his holy name, we are indirectly impacting the society so that they can become a little bit more cultured. Ever since this Hare Krishna Sankirtan has started, at least wherever the Sankirtan is going on, people are in general slightly better well behaved than other places because the effect is there. Effect of prasadam, effect of the holy name when chanted, it is there. No doubt about it. So the social condition of the demonic people is very miserable, right? And here he says people who are married are better conditioned than people who are proclaiming so-called freedom. When women proclaim so-called freedom, what happens? They don't get married, they won't have kids, everybody will treat them, like society girls and try to encroach on them. So their situation is pretty bad actually. And that's what we are seeing in the society today. Asatyam apratishthitham te
Asatyam apratiஷ்ഠம் te
jagadahuranishwaram
jagadharuranishwaram
aparaspara sambhutam
aparaspara sambhutam
kimanyat kama haitukam.
kimanyat kama haikutam.
Haitukam. Hetu means reason. Haitukam means what is the reason. Kama haitukam means due to lust. Kama. Okay, Shiva, can you please read translation purport? Shiva, you're still on mute. Okay, Nalini Mataji, read.
They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. The demonic conclude that the world is phantasmagoria. There is no cause and effect, no controller, no purpose. Everything is unreal. They say that this cosmic manifestation arises due to chance, material actions, and reactions. They do not think that the world was created by God for a certain purpose. They have their own theory that the world has come about in its own way and there is no reason to believe that there is a God behind it. For them, there is no difference between spirit and matter, and they do not accept the supreme spirit. Everything is matter only. And the whole cosmos is supposed to be a mass of ignorance. According to them, everything is void, and whatever manifestation exists is due to our ignorance in perception. They take it for granted that all manifestation of diversity is a display of ignorance, just as in a dream we may create so many things which actually have no existence. Then we are awake, we shall see that everything is simply a dream. But factually, although the demons say that life is a dream, they are very expert in enjoying this dream. And so instead of acquiring knowledge, they become more and more implicated in their dreamland. They conclude that as a child is simply the result of sexual intercourse between man and woman, this world is born without any soul. For them, it is only a combination of matter that has produced the living entities, and there is no question of the existence of the soul. As many living creatures come out from perspiration and from a dead body without any cause, the whole living world has come out of the material combinations of the cosmic manifestation. Therefore, material nature is the cause of this manifestation, and there is no other cause. They do not believe in the words of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate cha Characharam. Under my direction, the whole material world is moving. In other words, among the demons, there is no perfect knowledge of the creation of the world. Every one of them has some particular theory of his own. According to them, one interpretation of the scriptures is as good as another, for they do not believe in a standard understanding of the scriptural injunctions. Krishna.
So the last line is very interesting, because one interpretation of the scripture is as good as another interpretation. This is what's happening in the modern day right now. Everybody is trying to interpret the scripture on their own and coming to their own conclusions. That's a challenge. So we need to come to a proper approach, proper step-by-step approach. Otherwise, what happens? You go to step 1, step 16, step 25, come back to step 3, then you'll not get the desired result. You'll just be going through the maze, but you will never really come to the desired result. So just like, for example, under my direction, the whole material world is moving. So God is very clearly saying, I'm running the world. But the demoniac civilization is saying, no, there was a big bang. There is this energy that came like this. There was lava. All the lava became, under gravity, it came together and formed a planet. And all of a sudden, there was one drop of water. In that, amoeba came. Then this became this, and finally, caterpillar came out. So they come up with their own little theory, which is what we are fed on, by the way. Everything that we read in high school, in college, is all a product of this demonic civilization. In every line, they avoid the word God. They will only talk about some automatically things coming together. So they say, okay, it came through evolution. How did that first cell animal come through? Oh, somehow or the other, there was some kind of reaction and the first life came. So they don't know that, right? I mean, how it came, but they're just making it up. That's the problem. The starting point is Krishna always. He has created everything. So they want to ignore God, so they will not follow it. And then they're saying child is simply a result of sexual intercourse, which is true. But who is giving that seed? Where is that soul coming from? So that part they want to ignore. Right? They're saying without any soul, the world is running. No, there is a whole science behind it. The souls are there. Some of them are in hellish condition. After they go through that, then they are put into womb of somebody. And then a baby comes out. So, yeah, it's not just because of sex. Although that is the external reason. The real reason is something deeper than that. Souls come into bodies of particular parents based on their karma and their desire to do certain things. If you desire to be in farming, more likely you'll be put in the womb of a farmer's body. But then you change your desire. Then you want to do H1B and come to America, right? So although you are born in a farmer's family as you desired originally, then you change that desire along the way, and then you do something different. Because soul is constantly changing desires. I want this, I want this, I want this. Most of them, the Lord is, fulfilling. But if He fulfills every one of your desire, you'll go crazy. Because you'll say, why did I even ask for that? It may not be good for you, but you'll ask for it. And then when it comes, you start worrying and being upset like that. Any questions on this one? Okay, let's chant Hare Krishna now. Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya